The Utah Jazz need 2 of 7 to break through into viable, rotational NBA players. But who are the 2? Next on Locked on Jazz.
You are Locked on Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network. Your team every day.
How are you? I'm David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, Jazz NBA insider. This is Locked on Jazz. It's your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz, giving you insight, expertise, geeky numbers, and hopefully making it way better to be a Jazz fan each and every day. Thank you so much for making Locked on Jazz your first listen of the day. We are free and available on all podcasting apps and on YouTube. To the everydayers, thank you. You're the greatest. Thanks for being a part of everything we do at Locked On. I thank you so much for your commitment to us and everything else. It's absolutely the greatest to have you. So thank you very much. All right, on today's show, the Jazz path to competitiveness has 3 parts to it. We talked about Lauri last show, but to me, he's a part of the path, as is Walker. They're the established top 100 level players, Lauri top 50, who are going to be a part of this thing, hopefully for the future, that they give you viable NBA players. Ace Bailey, whoever we draft this year, probably whoever we draft next year, are really the key to the whole thing. And then there's a collection of 7 players now. What happens with those 7? And what the Jazz need, if you do what I've kind of pieced together, you're going to have Lauri, Markkanen, and Walker Kessler. You've got Ace Bailey and whatever 2 other young players we add in the next few years. This year's going to be a high draft pick. Year after, probably still a high draft pick. Those are 4 of your pieces. You have to have 2 of our other 7 break through into viable rotation players. That gets you to 6 or 7 of your rotation players, and then you fill in the gaps, probably with free agency for one of the higher echelon players if you can. If we can get them to come to Utah or via trade, and then somebody that fits. And now you've got your 9 or 10 man rotation. And truthfully, if you start to have more than 2 hit, which would be great, you're probably playing the trade game with some of them because not all of them can fit. By the way, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is tonight. So new customers, you can bet $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets. Download the FanDuel.com to start. So let me explain that last concept again. If you start to say that like both Isaiah Collier and Walter Clayton Jr. click through and become and hit. And let me be clear what I say on hit here in a second. There's probably not room for both of them. So now you start to make trades. So if you can get more than 2 of the 7 to click, then that's terrific. That's going to help you get to where you need to go as a franchise faster because now you have pieces and tool that you can trade and probably pieces that help you facilitate these trades that people really want. If Kyle Filipowski and Taylor Hendricks both click, probably one of them needs to be moved. That's the reality. That'd be great. That's the best case scenario. But if we're going to make it along the way with the resources and possibilities we have, I think Lauri's on the team the next time we play a playoff game, and Walker's a piece of that. And then you're drafting these players that are the key to the whole thing. If Ace Bailey flames out, we're 5 years behind. If next year's draft pick flames out, we're 5 years behind. 5's probably an exaggeration, but not a lot. But the other pieces are just as vital. So that's Keyonte George, Brice Sensabaugh, Taylor Hendricks, Cody Williams, Isaiah Collier, Kyle Filipowski, and Walter Clayton Jr. I don't think I forgot anybody. Those 7, at minimum 2, have to click. And when I say click, I'm going to be totally honest here for a second. I hope I'm wrong. I don't see any of these players as being a top 50 player in the NBA. Okay? I hope I'm wrong. But as of this moment, I don't expect any of them to be top 50 players in the NBA. We'll release our top 100 players in the NBA locked on Monday, and we'll talk about this concept of where we think they could be. I think you're talking, when I say viable, rotation players. Could be 18, 20 minutes a night. Could be 30 minutes a night. But we're talking rotation. Clicking to me is a rotation NBA player. Okay, that's all we're talking about. Can you be Aaron Nesmith? Can you be Dylan Brooks? Can you be Devin Vassell? Can you be Christian Brown? Can you be Josh Hart? Those are great role players, right? They really matter. Cam Johnson. Those type of players. Fred VanVleet, Alex Caruso. Those are top 50, top 60 players. To get into the top 50 is just a different level. And I'm not sure that I see any of these guys being a top 50 player. The only one, okay, that I think could be a top 50 player in the NBA, and this is kind of a joke to say this, frankly, is Taylor Hendricks. His body is that great that if he learns the game, he's got a long way to go, and he can shoot. I think he could be Aaron Gordon-esque in Denver, and Aaron Gordon to me is a top 50 player in the NBA, but Aaron Gordon's really good. So when we're talking these 2 of 7, can we get any of the 2 of 7 to merge into the top 100-esque players in the NBA and maybe even below it, where you just know you're getting 20 to 25 good, established minutes a night? Like Tamari Kamara in Portland, if you're a diehard fan, you know who that is. Herb Jones in New Orleans would be great if one of these guys became that. Those are both elite bodies. And I mentioned Aaron Nesmith, who hopefully you may know from India. So which of the 7 is most likely to do this? I want your thoughts in the comments. If you're on YouTube, send me your thoughts on that. I'm going to give you mine here in a second, but I have one of the 7 that I feel super comfortable. Not super comfortable. I have one of the 7 who I think will break through and be one of the 7. To me, there's one that's way above that. And now, who's next? I have no idea. And how many of the 7, I even have less of an idea. It's kind of why this season's so exciting. If you're on YouTube, put it in the comments section. Give me your thoughts on that. Thumbs up while you're doing it. I'd appreciate it. If you're on Spotify, you can put the comments in as well. Who, if you had to choose 2 of the 7, Keyonte, Brice, Taylor, Cody, Isaiah, Kyle, Walter Clayton, who do you have as 2 of your 7 that they click in, they become viable NBA rotation players? Solid, established, 20-plus minutes a night NBA players. I've got one. I don't know who's next, and that's next on Locked On Jazz. Today's edition of Locked On Jazz is brought to you by my friends over at Murdoch Chevy, located in Woods Cross, also in Logan. The Chevy truck is Americana. The Murdochs are Utah. It's happened near 100 years in Utah. By the time you go back and really look at what the Murdochs have done in this community, they are trusted. The Chevy truck is Americana. It is a perfect match for you. And as we head into the winter, it's the right time to buy. Fall is right here. Winter does come around the corner. You have no choice in this. You cannot stop it. So stop by Murdoch Chevy. If you're going to stop by, feel free to email me first. We'd love to help you out and give you a little bit of that VIP treatment that you deserve by being a Locked On listener. That's right. Stop by. Email me at dlock09@gmail.com. That's dlock09@gmail.com so that we can get you your Murdoch Chevy VIP treatment over in Woods Cross or in Logan, all courtesy of our good friends over at Murdoch. Today's show is brought to you by Monarch Money. Monarch Money can do so many different things for you. For me, it's invaluable on us trying to make sure we understand where our money's going, where we're saving and where it works, and where we can save and where it works, and how we're doing well. So often you hear these ads and they're all about like what you're not doing well. I will tell you what I think is so cool about Monarch Money is you put all your stuff together, your 401ks, your properties, your investments, just your accounts, and you can look at it and you see the full picture. And I think if you start to kind of piece it together, the full picture often looks all right. That's where Monarch Money is. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. For us, it's an opportunity to isolate where expenditures are going. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finance, Monarch Money is for you. Monarch does heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart characterization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. It's all at Monarch Money. Check it out. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser to get half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDONNBA. LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com. Keyonte George is going to be one of the 7. You with me? I am. I really still have a lot of confidence on Keyonte. If you ask me who the most skilled setup players of those 7 are, Keyonte, Brice, Taylor, Cody, Isaiah, Kyle, and Walter Clayton, Keyonte is my most skilled. And the ball has not gone in the basket yet. 2 years in a row of 39.1% shooting. And if he does it again, I'm wrong. And 2 years in a row of 33% three-point shooting. And if he does it again, I'm wrong. But all the other pieces around Keyonte to me are trending in the right direction, which I think is going to lead for those 2 next things to happen. So, for example, his usage went up last year and everything was flat. I actually think that's good. Like, that tells me there's a little bit going on there. His points per 100 shot attempts was up. His assist rate was up. His turnover rate was down. His shot distribution is terrible. He only takes 13% of his shots at the rim. We've talked about this before, every day, as you've heard this. Like, if you just put Keyonte's shot distribution down and have him do an average player, he'd be a bad percentage shooter. He makes his life too miserable. I think with a 3rd year in the league, an understanding of that, I think we can see him make that change. His rim shooting's only average. So we'll see if he can adjust that. And his above the break 3-point shooting is bad. It's 32%. That's a number I think will move up to 35 or 36 very naturally with better shot selection and some better fundamentals. And he's working his butt off. He's got a great coach in Chris Jones, and his footwork is terrible at times. Some of this is he's so damn skilled, it's easy for him to get these shots off and do these things, and it's terrible for him. And he's got to learn that, like, just because I can doesn't mean I do. And I have actually a lot of confidence that Keyonte is going to be able to do that. The other one I would share with you is Keyonte's off-court growth last year, I thought was tremendous. The dude's 20, maybe 21 now. And I really thought that his off-court confidence, he's 21. He actually turns 22 in November. Was a nice growth, like kind of what you'd expect out of a kid who's 20 years old. I've got a 23-year-old and a 20-year-old, and I couldn't imagine putting them in this environment. It's really, really hard. So I have a lot of confidence that Keyonte is one of my 7. If you ask me who the most skilled player of this whole group is, Keyonte's my answer. He's got the size at 6'4". He's got the handle. He can shoot off the bounce 3, which most guys can't do. He's pretty athletic. He's pretty strong. He gets bouncier the stronger he gets. There's just a lot going on there that I think is heading in the right direction. His free throw rate went from 3 free throws a game to 4.5. That's a big jump. Start adding those free throws. Get a few more shots at the rim. Take a few less good shots. And that number goes. And then the question is just, will he commit to defense? And I think everything I've seen out of Keyonte and heard about Keyonte this offseason, he's committed to doing the right thing. And the truth of the matter is, Keyonte's got like 3 tracks right now. He can be Bones Highland and be virtually out of the league here. I think Bones Highland signed with someone, but he's hanging on. He can be Jared Bayless, which honestly, I do think there's a really high chance he's Jared Bayless. Jared Bayless was the 11th pick of the 2008 draft. He was 6'4", kind of same thing. And Jared Bayless ended up playing 11 years in the NBA, but none more than 2 years on any team. And that, like their career starts are similar, and that would not be great for us. And then the third one is that he becomes like a 25 to 30 minute a night guard and makes a crazy amount of money and has a great career. He's got to get out of being Jared Bayless. I don't know that he will, but I think he is, because I think he's that skilled. That's my most likely of our 7. What gets really interesting when you start to look at these guys, who's got the best body? It's unquestionably Taylor. Taylor physically still has the highest upside of anyone. Now, we have no idea if he can play. We've totally forgotten what he does. In truthfulness, he still had so much learning of the game to do as an understanding of spacing and floor and how to play and what to do and all these kind of things. He was super far behind in that, in my opinion. I actually think the year off might have helped him. I have just no idea what we're going to see out of him, and I don't think we should evaluate him a lot till February. Another one who's grown up immensely off the court, like so different. And seems to be like we're going to see him ready to go here in a month of training camp, hopefully. I'm sure they'll hold back a little bit and be a little careful, but all signs that I've heard are to go. Like, I don't know for a fact, but everything feels good. Pretty exciting to get to see Taylor. His body is the one that he can get in the top 100. Tamari Kamara and some of these other guys I just put out there that are top 100 players, like his body can get him into the top 100. The most unique is Kyle Filipowski. Right? 6'11", 7 feet, passing, moving the ball. Still questionable where that shot is. We'll see. It was pretty good in Summer League. He was dominant, as he should be. Kyle Filipowski is the unique one here that somehow does something that no one else does. Kelly Olynyk is the most common comp piece. That's certainly viable. The best single skill is Brice Sensabaugh shooting. Unless it becomes Walter Clayton's off the bounce shooting. There's some parts about Walter Clayton that I want to see what happens. Walter Clayton almost, to me, in Summer League looked like he had to take a bounce to shoot, which isn't super. I'm sure he'll learn through that, but it felt like he had to take the bounce to shoot. And then when he got blocked, when he did that once, I thought it was an eye-opening moment of how hard this is going to be for him. Isaiah Collier's speed and passing could be a unique single skill in there as well. Here's the irony of all this. The other one whose body, this is because it's such a detriment right now, is Cody. Like, if Cody can continue to gain weight, and if Cody can kind of figure out how to, if Cody becomes 6'7", 220, well, then his body is suddenly a great asset, right? Then he's special because 6'7", 220 is hard to find. So I have Keyonte as the one of the 7 I'm most comfortable getting through. And we need at least 2. The season's going to be about who the next one is. We'll talk about each of their paths to be that 7 next on Locked on Jazz. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL season is here. We're ready to rock and roll. I think the Eagles and the Cowboys kick it off tonight, if I'm not mistaken. I've got friends that are there for it. God only knows if their body can handle doing this if they're above it at their advanced age. Yes, Jeffrey, I'm talking to you. The Eagles are an 8.5-point favorite today and there are also all sorts of fun parlay lines on that as well. So feel free to jump into it. And FanDuel's making it easy for you because with football season here right now, new customers can bet $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. That's right. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. And the $5 bet wins you $300 in bonus bets. The one I kind of semi-suggested the other day, by the way, would have worked just fine. U.S. Open lines are pretty great, by the way. The semifinals of the women's are all pretty close on there. Alcaraz is a minus 345 against Djokovic on Friday in that one. Skinner is a minus 3,500 in his match as well. So maybe that's your $5 bet. You never know. You decide. I'm not about to tell you what to do when it comes to betting. FanDuel.com. What's the path for each of these guys? Okay, Keyonte we've talked about. Brice Sensabaugh has the single skill. Brice Sensabaugh can become a 20-minute-a-night NBA player if he can become viable defensively. And actually, the other one I would say is he has too many silly lapse turnovers. I think that Brice Sensabaugh is Gary Trent Jr. Gary Trent Jr. has played 30 minutes to 26 minutes a night in the NBA for the last few years and averaged double figures and is a horrendous defensive player and gets knocked out of rotations because of it all the time. If Brice probably has the easiest path of any player in this group to becoming 2 of the 7 because of the fact that he has the elite shooting skill that nobody else can match. Right? You're a 40% three-point shooter. That's pretty special. And Brice can really stroke it. 42.2% last year at 20 minutes a night. Like, I think Brice Sensabaugh very easily could be this number 2. In fact, if I have to type my most likely to the number 2 player, Taylor's the one who's got the body. I just don't know yet. We just don't know yet. Cody's got the unique body at 6'7". We just don't know yet. Brice, I do know, can shoot. And that is a viable NBA skill that with a little other pieces to the puzzle, some better ball handling, some smarter things. He was a huge jump last year from 39 to 46% overall shooting. Brice Sensabaugh can be 25 minutes a night, Gary Trent-esque player, averaging double figures and playing in the NBA. He averaged 11 points a game last year. Like, this is not a big jump. For Taylor, we've talked about elite defensive player. Robert Covington is probably the model right here. The body makes his route super easy to do it. He's got to learn how to shoot, handle, and play smart and be a defensive menace, which he showed some signs of doing in his early part of his career. Cody has got a long way to go, but the first step is the body. The path for Cody is to get that body strong enough so he can start to use his skills. There's just so many times And when he's driving and he crumples, or his drives, the long drives to the basket, but he's fading so far away. And we began to see in Summer League him putting his shoulder into someone, holding his ground, driving the basket, holding his ground. Again, that's Summer League. But we're beginning to see it. Isaiah Collier, I think, is a two-part path. The obvious one is the shooting. You just can't be a 25% three-point shooter. But I actually think the other one is an understanding of how you fit in the NBA and where you're going to impact things. That's what I thought was so beautiful about the Pacers. I thought those players all kind of got this. To me, Isaiah Collier comes at one point the number one recruit in the country. He goes to USC. He's all this profile. Isaiah Collier, I think, needs to understand that he's a 24-minute-a-night pest. That he's going to get into Ja Morant, and Ja Morant is going to be like, fudge, I don't want to play Isaiah Collier. I don't know. I think Isaiah Collier is going to be that different than TJ McConnell. Like Isaiah Collier's route to clicking, to me, until you're shooting 35%, you're not playing much more than 20 minutes a night. And I don't know that he can get there. So now you're going to have to find your other route by which you're a tempo changer, you're in defensive, you're impacting the game. Like if you don't, like this is like how, who's the little guard who played for Bobby Huggins? It's not Jordan McLaughlin. That's Isaiah's worst case scenario. Who's the little guard who's like keeps playing in the league forever, played for Bobby Huggins? Wow, it's off season. David doesn't have it. I don't have it. Tiny little guard. Past, comes in the games, changes the game all the time. You guys have it in the chat room. I know you do. That's Isaiah's route. Kyle's route is probably the Kelly Olynyk mold. But what I mean by that is that you better be so impactful offensively. I mean, it's nice to say Kyle's got to become valuable defensively, but like there are just some limitations on what Kyle can do defensively. Like he's going to have to figure out how to switch and be viable switching. He's just not a drop big. He really probably has to learn how to switch and play the 4, and not the 5, I think. So actually Kyle's is interesting because a lot of these other guys I've talked about, I've said they need to fix their weakness. I actually think Kyle's strength has to become so great that he becomes a 25-minute-a-night player in the NBA. If that makes sense. So we talk about Isaiah Collier. I'm talking about him kind of figuring out where his thing is and then making his weakness viable. And we're talking about Brice Sensabaugh. I'm talking about making his weakness viable. I don't know that I think Kelly Olynyk ever made his weakness viable. And yet Kelly Olynyk has been able to be on a decent team, a 22, 23, 22-minute-a-night player. He always played a little less when the playoffs came because that weakness was not viable and weaknesses in the playoffs get exposed. And when he got into the playoffs, I don't think he ever played, other than maybe, if I remember correctly, one playoff series of his entire career, did he ever start playing over 20 minutes a night. I think when he was in Boston, all of his minutes suddenly dropped to 15, 16 minutes a night in the playoffs. And then when he went to Miami, I think it was about 12 or 13 minutes a night in the playoffs. And finally, maybe in that last NBA Finals, he played over 20 minutes a game. So in the regular season, at least for Kyle, I think the route is that you actually have to make your greatness better. He's interesting in that sense. What he's great at, he makes even better. And I don't know yet on Walter Clayton Jr. If I'm being told, let's just off the bounce dribble is what I think is going to be his shooting is going to be his game. Leadership and playmaking, we'll see. I have no idea. It's going to be interesting. And if you can catch it, like Ace is in a different category. We need more out of Ace. We need Ace to be a top 30 player, 50 player in the NBA. It's a lot of pressure. Not tomorrow. We'll talk this week about what is a successful season for Ace Bailey tomorrow. This Clippers story, I would say two things. Paulo Torre does incredible work. Has a few little gaps in it, and I'm sure the Clippers have covered themselves on it. But the absolute concept or idea that the Clippers were intentionally circumventing the salary cap by paying their players unusual amounts of money and endorsement deals that they didn't do anything for is not good. This is a mammoth story. Okay? It's not fun like someone scoring 34 a night. It's not fun like a trade or free agent. This is a mammoth, seismic story. I don't think it's a done deal story. I think there's some pieces to it that aren't clear, but it is a seismic story. That is Locked On Jazz today. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thanks for being an everydayer. We now send you the first ever national 24/7 NBA channel. Plus, check out Locked On NBA. We're still every day for you.